Wolf, let's just start with a brief introduction here. If you could just tell people a little bit more about yourself, who you are, and really where your passion lies in your craft.
Um, for dramatic pause, I'm an actor, director, and I teach and direct over at Playhouse West. I started I came out to LA to pursue directing and writing, and through some crazy experience, got an acting job on the film A Few Good Men. Um, it's just one of those crazy Hollywood stories, and the bug bit me, and now I'm a crazy individual, an actor, which you know can't get enough of it. And as like everybody here has gone through the journey, the ups and downs of creativity, and just have no other way to live our lives other than to just be creative. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I have to reference this. I was at the gym last week on the treadmill. The TVs are up. I see Tom Cruise. Next, keep running. I see you.
I'm sorry.
He's our top YouTube video, by the way.
I messed up your workout.
So, Wolf, and you're a former Division I athlete, correct?
Yes.
University of Virginia football. Yes. One thing with Wolf, when I was in his acting class, and I'm about to join again at Playhouse West, is you were really big on mindset and getting it done. And being in your class, I really felt it was very similar to being on a sports team. You would run the class like we would run basketball practice. I played basketball. I really felt like that environment. Could you take us into your philosophy of just work ethic in general? But I always like to say you would always tell us, get it done. You didn't want to hear the excuses. You didn't care what happened leading up to that class. Is like, get it done. So could you take us a little bit into your philosophy and your mindset when it comes to producing your projects?
You're right. I mean, I find that a lot of times people who do come from disciplined sort of creative fields, whether it's, sports or music or dance, there is a certain discipline and work ethic that's necessary. And a lot of times that's missing with actors. And I always tell us, unfortunately, us actors have a reputation of being flakes. And, we live up to it a lot of times. And it's like, guys, we can't do that, the number of producers that tell me, yeah, we had this call time, and like 5 of the actors didn't show up, and I try to run the class as much as I can with the same attitude of the real world. And, I have certain things that I tell them, you have to come to class prepared with what you need to have. And if they don't come with that, they're fired for the day. They come and sit down. they're like, what? Yeah, you're fired for the day. And, a lot of times they're very angry at me. They've probably slashed my tires a few times. But it's a great, if I can tell a story, there was a young lady in class. We were doing an exercise called a fantasy exercise. And I called her name. She stood up and she said, does anybody have a radio I can use? I said, sit down. She goes, well, what? I said, you came to class today without something. Imagine if somebody had it, but imagine if nobody had it. What would you have done? Right? You would have been screwed for the day. And so now you're fired for the day. And she was so mad, she left the class, right? A year later, I bumped into her. She goes, thank you very much. I said, what are you talking about? She said, I had that moment. I was leaving the house and I was about to leave what I knew I needed to have and thought I could get it. And I stopped and I went back and got it. And sure enough, I would have been screwed had I gone to the set that day. And, it's one of those things that you hear, and it's hard sometimes because, you're not making people happy in the moment, but I'm hoping that we're kind of learning those lessons that will help us out. They're very small things, but they're huge, you know? And, even the idea of getting it done came out of the during activity exercise. And very quickly, there's one part of the exercise is someone is trying to do an activity and they have a time frame, and it's difficult and there's a high stress, and then suddenly they will start to put this aside and work, start to put their attention on the other person. And I'm like, get it done. They're like, what? Get it done. And it's funny because that became a thing that really kind of, snowballs forward into a lot in our lives, about getting it done. We get distracted by so many things, by so many obstacles. You talked about what's a challenge that people have. For me, it was fear. Especially I was a crazy perfectionist. And my fear was I couldn't do and live up to a standard that I want to do it. And for me, that ended up being I would never do it at all, And so it took me a long time to get to that point of, just like Kip was saying, just shoot the thing, just do the thing, right? And what I start to kind of preach now is we all have that voice in our head. We all have that creative genius in us that speaks to us constantly, but we don't listen. We judge it, we second guess it, and I try to and I harp on the students, and I try to be better with my, just listen and follow. It's never wrong. It's never wrong, And so the moment I started to just, talk about crazy ideas, like Rohan was saying, you have crazy ideas. And, the students will say, we'll attest. I was like, I don't know how we're going to get there, but we're going to do it. And they're like, and I appreciate they trust me a lot of times because I have no idea. None. And I'm supposed to be the teacher. I'm the one flying the plane. I know where we're going. How are we going to land? I don't know. Right? But it is that trust and the trust that we have as a group, as artists, that if we really put ourselves to it and really work hard and all of us trust our creativity, it's going to happen. We just did a one-act festival of 22 one-acts, right? 18 of which were written by the students. And if those guys remember, we started it. It was like that. I said, this is what we're going to do. And they're like, uh-huh. And man, did we not kick some butt, right? That's right. It happened. It happened. We pulled it off. And it's just really listening to that voice and just taking that step forward. And the word was used earlier about faith, and it's going to happen and we're going to get it done.
That was incredible. Thank you for that. Let's give Wolf a hand. As you're talking, you remind me, one of my favorite quotes is, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yep.
And I feel like you really instill that. And I have to acknowledge too, one of my favorite creative things I did at Playhouse West and learned a ton from was the 120-hour film festivals that you run, where you have, what is it, 5 days?
5 days.
5 days, get a team, here's your concept, go, you got to turn it in. And boy, people are sweating bullets because if it's a minute late, you're disqualified.
A second late.
What I really like is you really prepare people, because the world doesn't care. The world doesn't care about your excuses. So just how you do anything is how you do everything. I feel you're going to take that energy into whatever passion you're producing. And you have been around so much talented people, artists, etc. What are some of the biggest, strongest qualities you've seen from the ones that really succeed, that really do it? And maybe the follow-up to that, the ones that don't, what are the mistakes they make?
I think what Kip said earlier about, persistence and showing up, you know, 3/4 of our battle is just showing up, because it's a long journey, and it's very easy for us to get disillusioned and cynical and bitter and to just give up, and to have that ability to sometimes we're the only ones who believe in ourselves. That's scary, man, and to continue on with the fight, even in the face of that. I'm sorry, that's just crazy. I was saying to a class the other day, think about it. Baseball, if you hit 3 out of 10 times, you're in the Hall of Fame. But if you think about the number of auditions we go out to and the jobs we get, the odds of that, who would ever sign up for that job? Right? That's just nuts. But there's something that we cannot ignore, that passion, that word passion, which is very powerful, that really keeps us going, and what's important is finding community, finding the people of like mind, the people with the same work ethic, with to share a dream with, and to those people who were there when you want to quit. They say you ain't going nowhere, that really just holds you up. It's powerful. And so that the thing that I've seen with people is that persistence. I can't remember last in-person audition, but it was like there'd be a time when you was in the room and it would be like me and another dude. It was like, damn, you still here? Yeah, okay. Well, one of us will get the job, but it's very easy to find another thing that's easy, And I always talk about obstacles. I say, come on, guys, with the students. They're like, they weren't feeling well today. I'm like, feeling well? I had all my teeth pulled out yesterday. I'm here. I got to pick my mom up at the airport. Man, there's Uber. Let your mom take Uber. Come on, there's work to do. And I know that sounds harsh, but it's how else are we going to get it done? How else are we going to get it done? Because the odds are always against us, as artists. They're always against us. So we have to have that mindset, that warrior and fighter mindset that is maniacal sometimes and nuts. And, and sometimes we're a lot. Ask my girlfriend. She's like, oh, God. Oh, please. Can somebody please help him? Give him some more insurance so he can get another day in his therapy session. Because it's that motor that's always running. How can I do more? How can I raise the bar to the next thing, the show that we just did? We got to do better. We got to raise the bar somehow. And again, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to get there. So that's kind of the thing that I see, that people who always succeed kind of have that. And then the other question was about people who fail. Was the question?
Or just the ones that you see fall or quit? Like what?
They didn't. The lack of community. You can't do this. We can't do this on our own. We can't. The business as it is in terms of a film production and stuff, it requires a lot of people. But, it's really what's great about the school atmosphere and what I try to foster, make them work together on projects. And look, you're not going to get along with everybody, but you got to be professional to get the job done. And hopefully, there's these guys back here that what I love. They're going to be friends for life, and they're going to be making projects for life. And sometimes I'm a little jealous about that, I'm an old man and I'm not in that community. You know, I can watch them and encourage it, but it's exciting to watch. And so the ones who usually, and I can use the situation at the school, who kind of fall off are the ones who did not really inject themselves in that community and really try to make those relationships and work with each other. And then when that quit monkey jumped on their back, it won, and they quit. So
I love that. And you remind me of my 7th grade basketball coach once said, he said, you can be happy with your performance, but don't be satisfied.
Oh.
And that's what you remind me of, because I really highly encourage, if you guys want to see some phenomenal theater in Los Angeles, Playhouse West, the productions that are put on there are incredible. And every time you level up to something new. So you're constantly innovating, and you might be happy with it, but when I talk to you at the final shows, you're already thinking about the next show. So as we're getting closer to the end here, one question I had is, so for those people out there that are wanting to take action on their passion, or like we said in the previous panel, they're getting stuck, they need some inspiration. What can you say to them?
There was, when the panel was talking, someone was talking about, again, we're talking about, and this is important. We don't know where we're going half the time. I just bought like 5 TVs at Best Buy. I have an idea to do like a collage sort of LED wall at the theater, right? Because I go to the theater, I'm at the Pantages, and I'm like, I gotta do that. I'm in a 2020 black box, right? And I'm like, no, we're gonna, the Hamilton, they got the turnstile. I'm gonna have me a turnstile watch. But then I saw the Layman Project, I think it was, and they had that huge digital wall. I'm like, I'm gonna do that. And then I thought, okay, I can't do that, but I can maybe, put the TVs and then break up the image on it. And then I was like, and now I'm buying the TVs, and my girlfriend was like, what are you gonna do? I said, how are you gonna do it? I don't know. I got QLab, and I know it can be done, maybe, but and she goes, but why do you have the TVs? Because it's because it will happen, I know, and it will, and that's the exciting thing, and that's the thing that I think that drives us all, is that thing that is the word is vision that we always use, but it is a truth. We have a vision, and somebody in the panel talked about having that place where I think it was Rohan, so we know where we are going to go, and trusting in that and doing it. And, it might not be today, might not be next week. I mean, I've had these for like 2 months, just sitting there. People are like, why do you got these TVs? I'm gonna do something with them. And so, but watch, I'm gonna do something with them. And then it'll be like, well, what can I do more? And so it's really just having that vision and believing in it. And even when we have no idea, it's almost like, what else are we gonna do? Because that's who we are, man. So I have no idea what I just said. Here you go.
This is all clip material here. Kenny Yates, I'm going to give you some credit because we combined this together. Because someone on the Produce Your Passion podcast recently said, being able to see it through, and I think Kenny, you added, it's having the resilience to be able to see something through, and that's really what Produce Your Passion is. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what the end result's going to be, but just having that ability to fight and keep going. So, Wolf, this has been extraordinary. Thank you so much for doing this. this would be a 2-hour segment, but you do have a very unique story with A Few Good Men. Could you just talk really quickly and then how people can find you? Because about A Few Good Men, about just being ready for opportunity. Because I thought that was a perfect example when your numbers called and how you were able to step into that role of such an iconic film with so many superstars. Could you talk just a little bit about that and then where people can find you, Playhouse West, anything else you want to add?
The opportunity that it was just crazy even today to talk about it. But I think what allowed that to happen, because I started at Castle Rock in the mailroom, and that hustle of whatever they needed. We need this package across town in 30 minutes. I'll do it. They're like, you better get it there. Let's go. Hold my beer. I got this. Right? I might have broke a few rules on the way, but I got it there. And so then from that, Rob Reiner needed somebody to be his personal assistant on Misery. And they were like, well, he's like, I need somebody. You should get Wolf. Okay, let's do Wolf. And then on that job, it was like, again, whatever needed to happen, that mindset of just that hustle. And, I was really fortunate because they were really helpful in helping me climb the production ladder. And I was doing location managing, and I was a location manager on that film as my first kind of production on an A-list movie like that. The first time as a location manager, even that alone was crazy. And I bump into Rob at the company, and we're just talking. He goes, "You ever acted before?" No, man. He says, "I know you want to write and direct, but why don't you come in and audition for this role?" And so talking to him afterwards, that he confided in me. He never would have asked me if he didn't know the mindset that I had of someone that he knew if he gave me the job, I would do whatever it took to do the job well, or that to try to do it well. I wouldn't let him down and just kind of flake on it. That was kind of how that all sort of came together in that way. And I haven't been right since. But, hey, Sam, this is awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
To you.
Thank you for doing
this.
this.
Talking about getting it done. Watching Sam hustle and he's always so supportive. He comes out to all the productions at Playhouse West, and it's always said you got to give the love to get the love. And he's definitely somebody who believes in community, and he really lives that. And so, that is attested by all the people who are here supporting him. And all of us here tonight, man, it's what we all share together. Because, look, I'm up here talking, and everybody here can get up and share a story and talk about what it is about our passions. You know what I mean? We're all artists, and we all have that story. But the one thing we all have that is powerful is that it's courage, man. It's fucking courage. Because what we do, there's no guarantee. None. And every day we wake up, I don't know. I guess let's just do this today, right? And we have that vision, and we don't know if it's going to work, and we don't know if we can pay the mortgage or get food, but we don't seem to care because it's just we don't know what else to do, and as a community, that's special. That really is special. So we should give ourselves a hand because that's amazing. So thanks for having me, Sam, and thanks for doing this.
Where can we find you? Where can people get a hold of you?
On Thursdays and Tuesdays. No, you can find me at wolfbodison.com. I'm also at Playhouse West. We do a lot of productions there, playhousewest.com. So if you want to come check out a production, do that. You will be entertained.
I'm ready to run through a brick wall right now. Let's hear it for Wolf. Thank you for tuning in. To learn more, go to produceyourpassion.com.